I'm going to give y'all a heads up. This video might be heavy. All right. So if you're in a really good bubbly mood, I don't recommend you watch this right now. All right. I don't know where this is going to go, but I do know that this is going to be a very long video. All right. And by very long might be like 20, 25 minutes. So understand that. So if you don't have the attention span, all right, I gave you your warning. All right. But one of the things I was thinking about was, am I dealing with my pain appropriately? Once again, I say ask yourself questions. You know, the path to healing yourself is literally asking yourself the right questions. As I talked about in one of my previous videos, if you ask the questions, you'll get the answer. So you have to start asking the right questions. And I asked myself, am I dealing with my pain accordingly? Am I dealing with, is there anything left over that I still need to work on? Is there anything I can work on right now? You understand? And then the next idea that just instantly popped into my mind was make a video about it. Shocker, shocker, right? But it wasn't just make a video. It was like get people to see where you're coming from. Get that stuff that's really deep in you and share it openly and like without like the little hints I drop along the way or anything like that. You know, it's like actually share it and tell people where you're coming from with this. So hopefully they connect with you. Mind you, all this is a mental conversation. So I was like, all right, here we go. So we're here. As you can tell by the title of this video, it's probably going to be something heavy, but it's going to be along the lines of me talking about the experiences that or the things I learned from college and how I learned them without getting into too much detail for some things. You know, it's like one of the biggest things I thought about in regards to that pain was how people operate with it, how people work with it, right? There are some people that say that their pain is the only pain in the world. You'll never understand what this is, what he or she did to me. You'll never understand. But you have to understand. You have to understand. We won't. We can't. It's that simple. But you're looking at it in a way as like you are the only person in the world experiencing pain. You see what I'm saying? It's like some people smiling in your face right now are going through a lot more pain than you are. And you have to always understand, no matter in this world, just like how they talk about with sports, there's always somebody out there better than you. There's always somebody going through something worse than you. If you are watching my video right now, you might be going through some stuff, but there's someone that doesn't even have a roof over their head. If you somehow watching this on a YouTube video from someone's phone at McDonald's and you can see over there, there's somebody going through it worse than you, and we don't need to go into details. You know what I'm saying? But then that same thing can be translated to people that live in the mansions and we don't understand their pain. Like if daddy didn't give them $100,000, you'd be like, man, what are you talking about? $100,000? What you worried about that for? You don't understand what that might mean for them. Because it's like, wait a minute. It's like, you know, with rich people, they tend to not have great connections with their kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and once again, this is just an example. Like, you know, them not getting that $100,000 from daddy might have broke them. That might have been the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, they might get pissed off that they never see their parents. Their parents are always away on business. They're always somewhere just dropping their kids off with the nanny. They're always doing something. And I asked for something like this, which is so small to them, but it's like, and you couldn't give me that? You know what? Screw you. And they're like, that's plant seeds for hatred and distrust for people that are trying to get close to them, and they can't get close to people anymore. You see what I'm saying? So you never know where people are coming from. But the thing is, I don't want y'all to make that mistake with me. I want y'all to know where I come from, because one of my ways and one of the things I tell people is your pain needs to be shared. Now, I don't mean like misery loves company sharing. I mean like you need to sit down with people and tell people your story. You know, because a lot of people want to bottle it in. Speaking from experience, you want to bottle it, press it, you know, ignore it, whatever, or it was something that you don't give enough attention to. Like you were, you know, something really bad happened to you, we'll just leave it at that. Something really bad happened to you at a very young age. That happened so long ago, I don't even think about that. But then you can't even be in a proper relationship now because of that scarring that happened at such a very young age. You know, as I talked about, it's the records playing in the back of your head. You see what I'm saying? So you need to understand that you just need to deal with it, right? You need to deal with it appropriately. And the one way that I do is share it. You know, I want people to understand where I'm coming from. I want people to be like, okay, I see how he did that. It's like, okay, blah, 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 blah. And you can have your opinions about how I handle certain things, but hey, that's the story that was written and I'm just reading it back to you. All right. So I went to a predominantly white institution. for college, right? And I won't go into it in detail. I'm not going to explicitly say it, but throughout the way, I'll give hints to it in in future videos or whatever, or a couple Google searches. But regardless, I'm not going to be the one that says what school it was. But I went there, and the first thing that I felt was the culture shock, right? My first campus was the mixture of, like the dudes from what I would call the hoods. Like they act like half of these people acting mad ghetto, and then there's people like Hickville, and I was in the middle. Like throughout high school, throughout even life, I was too black for the white kids, too white for the black kids. So I never really felt like I fit in. Like I always just found the people in the middle and just like roll from there. You know what I'm saying? And of course, get in where you fit in. But one of the things that I wasn't ready for was the level of, like, there's a lot of factors, but as you can tell by the title, it's like the racism was crazy, And the thing is, it's not like it's anything that I haven't seen before. Back home, it's like I've been called the N-word on Xbox Live, shocker, shocker. I've been called the N-word by a bunch of dudes in their truck with the Confederate flag spraying in the wind, and we were like, if they got out of that truck, oh my God. I have literally been chased down the street in a car. You know what I'm saying? I've been chased down the street with another big old truck. We saw them, they looked at us, and then we sped up. But then we realized how close they kept getting to our car. So I literally had to move, and every time I tried to move, they stayed right behind me. I've been through it. So you don't think it can get worse than that. You don't think it can, but it can. What ended up happening was throughout my 4 years, and there's other things that are going on as well, but the main one was me dealing with racism in such a concentrated type of way. Like every stereotype, every racial thing that you can expect between black and white people happened pretty much. The only thing I didn't see was an actual hate crime. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I didn't see. You see what I'm saying? And what I really saw was like the evils of people. And right at the time, it was the evil. It's like, oh wow, you're just this comfortable. You just think you can say that. I heard the N-words said a lot more from white people, but not even just white people. I mean, like straight off the boat, Asian people that didn't even speak English, but they knew the N-word. That blew my mind. I'd be like, really? There would be some Indian people that I heard saying that. I'm like, yo, you do know you black, right? Like, let's do a color test real quick. You know what I'm saying? And it got to the point, it wasn't even just white people. It was everybody, and everyone says, we're going to pick on the black people. We're just going to say the N-word like it's ours. Don't get me wrong, black people, we shouldn't be saying it as much as we do as well, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get on that later. You know what I'm saying? But that was a lot of that type of stuff, but it wasn't even that. It was like the behavior switches, when you say oh, you get into an elevator with a woman and she clutches her purse, you just look at her like I really had that conversation. I was like, really? I wasn't even looking at you, but now you're doing that. You made yourself look like a target, and she just looked dumb. I'm like I was sitting here chilling. I am wearing at the time I was wearing a Space Kitty skateboarder hat and neon colors and stuff. I'm like, do you think I'm gonna be the one as distinguishing as I am to rob you right now? Come on, you just made yourself a target. You see what I'm saying? And stuff like that starts to piss you off in a different way. But you're like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? But then it just acts weird when you see people crossing the street. I thought that was something they just said on TV. When you see people cross the street, when you see people following you throughout the stores, which is something I've experienced even before. But when you see all this stuff, when you hear white people, hey, what's good, my nigga? Hey, niggas, blah, 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 what's going on? You be like, where the hell am I? And but they know they wrong when you walk around the corner. Hey, nigga. And they just turn pale as if they're about to die. You see what I'm saying? It's it's I have a lot of hate in my heart right now, but I don't even, bro, you already just killed yourself mentally. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? It gets to a point where you just say, don't worry about it. But when you go through these types of places and you experience this type of stuff, you think it can't get worse. And I've alluded to this story before. When I'm walking to my boy's house and it's the two jock dudes were like, hey, nigger, get off our sidewalk. I'm like, really? Like, and this is the point. This is like the hatred has overtaken me at this point. I'm just literally like a walking person, like a walking demon at this point. And like, I'm like, oh my God. I really don't feel like dealing with this. And then like, I'm not gonna go through the whole story, but pretty much it got to the point that I had to draw a knife and put it to the dude's chest. And it took everything in my power to not want to satiate the level of bloodlust I had at that point. Yes, school took me to that point. It wasn't even just the racial stuff. You can deal with that. Black people, we built for that. We just know this. It's like we shouldn't have to deal with it, but it's like we've been built to be able to withstand this and act accordingly. But it's not even that. That's actually like the second level, like the top tier level was like the just pure disrespect of my intellect. You see what I'm saying? It's like I went to school for soil science, pretty much. I only picked the major because it seemed like the one I can graduate with. I gotta be completely honest. I just got a major that I felt like I could get through, and I'm like, okay, I can learn terms, math, hard, science, I'm good at science. So, okay, science stuff, terms, terminology, functions, flow. That's easy. I got that. That's my major now. I picked that one like junior year. But when you're sitting in a classroom with your peers, and every time there's a group that you need, and everyone just like pretty much, hey, you need a group? Oh, I'm in one. Hey, do you need a group? And you hear this type of stuff, you'd be like, yo, what is going on here? Because a lot of people thought I was stupid. Don't get me wrong, I was going through a lot of stresses, so I couldn't apply myself the way I should have. My grades did not reflect how much I knew about the stuff at the time. But like, when you just see that different treatment from people, you'd be like, huh. It's like you do realize I know this stuff better than all of y'all. Y'all do know that I'd probably be the best person to have in your group to present this. As y'all are all stumbling around and doing this, I could make the whole crowd laugh. I can make y'all really lean in your seat for like, more information. I could do all of that, but y'all don't want to give me that chance? Bet. I'm gonna make y'all look as dumb as possible. There was so many presentations where I knew what the people were going to present, and I did it like 4 times better than them just out of pure spite. I didn't care until I was pushed. You see what I'm saying? But speaking of being pushed, with all these things culminating, with all the ignorance I was like, going through, like experiencing through people, just the blatant racism, it was like concentrated and it was starting to beat down on you. And when you are in a place where it's like such a low energy, eventually that's going to rub off on you in a certain type of way. And when people are operating from a low vibration, it can express itself in different ways. I was going through pain, whether it was my failing relationship and like the racism that was going on. So even in my personal life was screwed up. My outside life was screwed up. And it got me to the point where I was just starting to internalize a bunch of pain because I made the mistake that I talked about in the very beginning, that this is my pain. No one knows what I'm going through. But my thing was I want to internalize it. I want to push it down, push it down, push it down. But what you need to understand is when you push down your pain, when you try to hide it, when you try to cover it up, when you keep trying to make excuses for itself, you are giving it lodging in your body, quite literally in your body, in your mind, and in your spirit. Your spirit is being tied down by that heavy thought that you are holding on to, that heavy weight that's in that bag, in your knapsack, like Santa Claus or something. It's like that's holding you down in mind, body, and spiritual level. And when you start to press it, you know how diamonds are formed? Well, what happens when you press some dark energy like that? Eventually, it's going to explode. It's going to either explode or implode. And what I went through was I went through both extremes. Obviously, I'm still here, so we didn't go through the implosion where it blows up in yourself. But like it got to the point where I wanted to hurt people. And I don't just mean like I'm ready to fight. No, I was ready to do some dark stuff to people. Like that's where it took me. It got to a point. This is the night that I talked about how I like renounced my faith in God. I'm like, how is it that I'm living a good life? I'm being nice to people. I'm being respectful to people that are pretty much spitting in my face. I'm doing all this stuff. And yet they walk around, they're happy, having the time of their lives, and I'm in here in an internal hell. You can't be real. The same night I got rid of my faith in God, it was like the night Oliver was born. My dark side, my lower self now. You see Prince, hi, and then there's like the lower self, like that's Oliver. And I used to introduce myself as Oliver. The darkness quite literally took over. You see what I'm saying? And that's what happens when you get so caught up in the darkness. That's why like the hoods and the ghettos are so violent, because they don't have the proper mediums to express themselves, the proper mediums to heal their emotional trauma. So they take it out on other people. But just like how you can take it out on other people, you can take it out on yourself. And that's where, the dark things happen, aka, you not being here no more based off of your actions. Right? And like, I got really close to that. I got really close. I was one decision away from being like foamy at the mouth, nose bloody. I was very close. You see what I'm saying? But I just said nah, because the one thing that kept me sane was the people in my hall, my Curry Hall family. You know, I didn't want to catch them. I know mom and dad. I know it's hard to hear, but it's like, it's like at the time I was like, I don't want them to find me in here like this. Hey, let's go get some food. Oh my God. You see what I'm saying? Like that was literally the first thought. And I was like, I can't do that to them. They're the only thing that's like giving me light. I can't hurt them like that. You know what I'm saying? So I flushed those pills down the toilet. You know what I'm saying? I was like, nah, we good. We gonna handle this. But that's the same night I said, you know what? Fuck you, God. It's like, I got this. And then like I went out on a vendetta. That's when like the true violent me was born. Like I was ready. I was ready to gut people. Like I'm not trying to say this to make myself sound crazy. I'm not trying to make myself, but this is what happens when, number one, people perpetuate this type of belief, but then when you start to internalize it, and just to bring it out and just to balance it out, just to get back to the lessons here, you need to understand that pain is real. Your pain is your pain. It's up to you to deal with it. But you also have to understand that you are the one that is keeping it alive by keeping it within you. When you keep it within you, it feeds off of you. You see what I'm saying? When it feeds off of you, there's less of you and more of it. You see what I'm saying? So it's just eating away at your muscles, eating away at your tissues to the point it's just a blob of darkness left. That's what happened to me. That's where Oliver was born. That's where the psychotic version of me was born. And it's still here. Don't get me wrong. I got a couple screws loose. I still have some traumas I have to heal from. But what happens if I kept that hatred that I had for everyone around me? What happens if I kept that fear? What happens if I kept that anxiety that I still have when it comes to college campuses? I missed out on my cousins and my god brothers' graduations, like the picture form, because I was having full-blown anxiety attacks, like, was it months or a year, whatever, like a time period after I had graduated, and I go back to a college campus and I shut down, hyperventilating, going dark, sweating, crying profusely. Like it's still here, it's still strong. And that affected me because I was still holding on to old beliefs. You have to handle them, people. And the best way for us to heal the world is to heal ourselves. When we heal ourselves, we can heal the next person that's within arm's reach of us and be like, let's sit down and talk. Some people really just need to sit down and talk with somebody. Some people don't feel like they can open up because they've opened up to people before and they didn't get the reaction, or the people didn't respond to it correctly. But you need to understand, the more that you hold it in, the more that you believe that, you will perpetuate that in your life. So you operating from that low vibration is going to attract more low vibratory people here. When you think that they are your friends, you open up to them. Them operating from that low vibration, they're going to use that against you, or it's going to laugh in your face, and that's going to put you further into your hole. Then you're going to try to make more friends. You're going to bring them in. It doesn't matter. You see, you start to get into the cycle. You need to heal yourself. Moment of full transparency. My second relationship, it failed from both sides of us holding on to some dark thoughts from dark things from the past. For me, I didn't feel like I was good enough. So like I ended the relationship before it could be ended on before she could end it. That's pretty much what happened. Of course, hindsight being 2020, that's not what I was thinking at the time, but that's just what it was. You know what I'm saying? And when you don't get rid of these thoughts, they keep rearing their heads, because for her, not to put her business out there, but this is something that a lot of people have. When they open up to people, that's when things go bad. You see what I'm saying? She had that feeling, and that's what happened in her life. Two completely different thoughts, but you see how they both manifested in the end, the failure of a relationship. You see what I'm saying? So I want y'all to understand this type of stuff. You have to heal. Talk to people. If you are thinking of hurting people or hurting yourself, go get the help you need, because that's not the answer. It's not. I've been there. I've been through both ends of the spectrum, where it's just like I was very close to doing it, and I was at the point where I was one knife flip away from being locked up. You see what I'm saying? You need to understand that you have to sit down with it and deal with it. Just like in the very beginning, if you're still here, where I asked myself, I asked myself, am I dealing with this appropriately? You have to ask yourself these questions, because the answers will come from within you. They will. But the thing is, you need to ask yourself the right question. Am I going to kill myself today? Am I going to kill myself today? Am I going to kill them today? No. you're asking yourself the wrong questions. How can I heal from this? How can I have other people learn from this? How can I make the world better? How can I evolve to the point that my pain cannot be used against me? How can I evolve to make myself a better person and the people around me better? These are the questions you need to start asking yourself. Why am I still depressed? Why am I still hurting? You're asking yourself the wrong questions. You need to ask yourself, how do I fix this? How do I rise? How do I thrive? And how do I help other people around me? Always make it about other people. How can I help other people from what I've learned? Who needs to hear what I'm saying? Ask yourselves these questions and you're going to get out of it. Once again, I've come from that place. That's why I'm going back. I'm the type of dude, if you've seen Hacksaw Ridge, please Lord, let me save one more. Like the dude that kept going into the field. He kept going into the battleground to save one more person. Please Lord, let me save one more. Let me get one more. Let me get one more. I keep going back to that place to bring people out. That's what I want to do. I revisit my darkness, but in the meantime, while I'm healing them, I'm healing myself as well. So you need to make sure that if you have pain, turn that pain into some diesel fuel, that low level crude oil, but turn it into something to motivate your engines, to gas your engines to make the world a better place. You know what I'm saying? All of it, whether it's low vibratory energy or high vibratory energy, it's still energy, and it's up to you to make it something good. I can breathe now. I know this got heavy. I know it did, but I really, if someone needs to hear this, make sure they see this. You know what I'm saying? I don't do YouTube for the money. I don't do it for the fame. I don't do it for the clicks. I don't do it for all this type of stuff. I do this because this is my way of helping as many people as I can. This is me fulfilling my purpose, and it feels good to me. And I want people to feel as good as I do now. Yes, I am a work in progress. Yes, I have a couple of screws loose. Yes, I have a dark side that only my friends have really seen. But at the end of the day, I'm so much better off than what I was in the past. And the main thing that helped me get here was letting go of more and more and more of the past. You see what I'm saying? The more you hurt, the more power it has over you. If you are in the face of danger, smile. Smile. And look at it with love. You see what I'm saying? Because somebody might look at you with intent to do harm, and you smile like, yo, what are you smiling at? You're about to die. And you're like, well, it is what it is. And they'd be like, yo, I can't even kill you now because you started emitting love. You started opposing the low vibratory state that they were putting out there. I can't remember if I said it already. But like in the movie Interstellar, at the end, they said the most powerful thing in the world is love. No matter if you right now you just teleported, beam me up, Scotty, 20,000 light years away, you would still love your mom. You would still love your dad. You would still love your significant other. You would still love them as if they were here. If you time traveled 10,000 years into the future, you would still love them right now as if you were still in your past, present. But you get what I'm getting. You get what I'm getting at, right? It's love. I went through some racist things. I've went through it and I've seen the worst of people minus the hate crime. That's the only thing I didn't see and I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Well, I guess technically I was almost part of one. But anyway, it's like I could have held on to that hatred. I could have held on to that pain. And I could look at every white person, every Asian person, every other non-black person and look at you with disdain. Just be like, oh my God, look at you. You probably just looking at me like this and blah, blah, blah. I'm giving all these things in my head that you are doing to me. What happens when you are the bigger person? What happens if you can take on the prejudices that are being sent your way? I don't care if you're white, black, everyone's racist these days. Black people can't be racist. We need to stop that. But anyway, everyone is looking at you, not even if it's about race, if it's you're poor, you're weak, you're this or that, blah, 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 blah. And you just be like, hey, you can have your opinions about me, but that's not the truth. I welcome you to sit down and learn my side. You see what I'm saying? There'd be so many problems alleviated from this world if we just sat back and talked with one another. Because a lot of white people have not even met black people. A lot of black people have not met the white people that would die for you more than the person that you call your homeboy. You see what I'm saying? You got all these people from different walks of life that will help you. There is no such thing as race, people. There's no such thing as race. We are all people. There is just good and there's bad. You know what I'm saying? I know that's a human construct, but still, it's like there's good people that will help you out and they would give their left arm for you, no matter they black, white, Asian, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Haitian, Croatian, whatever. And there's people that will do everything in their power to take your arm and leg away from you. You see what I'm saying? But this is all a matter of your vibration. The media wants us to stay in this negative place. I'm not getting all tinfoil hatty. This is just the way the world is. The negativity is promoted. The forcing their opinions through repetition, aka the news. Is this how they control us? Start thinking from yourselves. Why do I hate somebody that I have never met? Ask yourselves these questions. Why am I looking down on someone whose story I don't know? Why am I belittling somebody else's pain because I haven't experienced their version of pain? My pain's bigger than theirs. Why are you talking like that to yourself? Sit down with people, learn people's stories, and you'll see where they're coming from. And that's how we build the light up in this world. I hope y'all appreciate this. You know, it felt good to get this off. Once again, this is very therapeutic for me. You don't feel the need to share y'all stories, but if you want to, feel free. If you need somebody to talk to, especially while I still call myself a small YouTube content creator, I'm here for you. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can't say that I can fix your problems, but I can definitely point you in the right direction. All right. So I hope this felt good for y'all. I hope this didn't kill y'all's buzz. I honestly hope y'all learned something from it. Till the next one.